My name is Lesley MacMillan. I'm the volunteer coordinator of EVA's initiatives. I grew up in Niagara Falls, and we didn't really have sort of like the homelessness issue that there is in Toronto. I mean, it was sort of more hidden. It wasn't until years later where it's like, oh wait, that person was. But I started coming to Toronto last year of high school. I was doing some political work, and you start to notice, people on the street and sort of getting aware of it. You know that there's a homelessness issue, but it's not until you see that coming from a smaller town to the big city, you start to see it and then realize that it is an issue. Making sure to avoid being burned out by trying to work. So it's a huge issue, and there's so much that needs to be done. That just sort of taking care to make sure that I don't run out of energy. But obviously dealing with the stigma that surrounds homeless youth. I mean, there's a huge stigma around homelessness in general where people don't understand the issue. It's so easy to stand back and point and say, that person's there because they're lazy. Well, it's not the actual case. I mean, far too many people in Canada are a paycheck or two paychecks away from being homeless. And sometimes it's not easy to think about that. It's mostly seeing the transition in the youth that we work with. I don't get to spend a lot of time in the shelters, but for example, one of our special events, we had youth to come to help set up, and I remember meeting one of the youth, and he was very shy and quiet. I'd seen him a few times throughout the couple of months at one of our shelters, and he was still kind of shy and quiet. And then I saw him at the graduation for our print shop, which is our social enterprise, and it's one of the employment training programs that we operate. And he was there, and he was so excited because he was graduating, and he had a job starting the next day, and went into his pocket, gave me his business card. He was like, I did this. This is my card. I designed it, I printed it, I cut it, I did it all myself. And he was just so excited, and it was just seeing that transition from the first time of seeing him to that moment, and just knowing that he'd gotten the skills that he needed to be successful. For a lot of youth, it's push factors in terms of family dynamics. It's estimated also, one of the new things that's come out in the research is that approximately 30% of homeless youth have mental health issues, which obviously are undiagnosed or untreated, which is highly problematic. There are obviously youth who have issues with addictions, but most of them, it's not a choice they make to be homeless, and nobody wants to be out on the street. Right. There's just no other alternatives. For a lot of people, it's a cycle of poverty, living in unsafe, overcrowded conditions where there are too many people, not enough space, and it's easier to get out of that. The issue of homelessness in general could be easily fixed if governments were willing to create affordable housing, if they were willing to create a national housing plan. We don't have affordable housing in Canada. It's all market value, market rate, which leaves a lot of people out in the cold. In order to solve the problem, we need political will. We need the politicians to be willing to invest the money needed to create affordable housing and to maintain what public housing there is already, to get it up to code. I mean, a lot of people who are in housing where it's unsafe, whether it be because of the conditions of the housing, because of pests. There just isn't a political will to do that. So in order to get political will, we need to get more people aware of the issues and to destigmatize homelessness. The big trends that we've noticed are going back to the approximate 30% who have mental health issues. Also, another part of that are young people with learning disabilities. I mean, they don't do well in school because they don't have the skills and they're not given the resources to help them. So they end up not doing well. They end up being labeled the problem student. Right. And if you get that attitude, why would you want to be in that environment, right? Phoenix is a 50-bed transitional housing down in the King and Strawn area where youth can stay for up to a year. And each youth have their own room, like a bedroom. They have a shared washroom and kitchen that they share with 4 other youth. So what happens at Phoenix is youth have a space of their own. They have something that they control. I mean, they're the only ones who can get into their room. Also, they have a community because they're there for a year. They get to know the staff, other youth too who stay there. So they have a sense of belonging, which is very important to developing the skills necessary to live independently. So also at Phoenix we have our employment training program, which is open to even non-EVA's youth. We have the mentorship program, which is sort of similar to the Big Brothers, Big Sisters, and the idea behind that is just to match the youth who want to get involved in that program with community members who have similar interests, to sort of help with some of those skills that they would need. And also out of there is our print shop, which is our social enterprise, and youth who are involved in the print shop program learn everything from like how to mix the inks to doing the layout. It's full graphic communication, so it's a great way for youth who are interested in that field to gain some skills. First is just to become educated about the issues, and to help educate other people about the issues of homelessness, and to help destigmatize it. Easy things like talking to a politician, like during an election when they come around to the door and say, what are you going to do about homelessness? What are you going to do about youth homelessness? What are you going to do about improving the education system? Easy things like for EVA's initiatives, for example, we operate two major special events a year. Volunteering at a special event, it's one night. Another key thing that's really helpful for us is a new project we started about in the last year. It's called the Home Starter and Personal Needs Kit. And what that is for example, for youth when they're leaving Phoenix and they've got a place of their own, what we try to do is just to provide them with some of the essential things that they need for their new home. So for example, dishes, pots, bedding, collect some of that stuff up and donate it. The easier part of that actually though was the personal needs part, and that's for mostly for satellite in place, and it's just the travel size shampoo, conditioner. So so you're going away on vacation, gather that stuff up, contact your friends and family. So I'm collecting this stuff for EVA's initiatives, and it doesn't have to be a huge box full of things, but it helps us in terms of if we're able to provide that to the youth, and it doesn't cost us money to provide it.